Good evening, everyone. Guys, in the previous session, if you remember, I have explained you about the VPC, that is Virtual Private Cloud, and it is nothing but this is your identification of your network, right? And the complete architecture of VPC, where you have seen your internet gateway, and there will be a route table, there will be a DNS server, right? There will be a subnet association, and how subnet 1 and subnet 2 we can associate by using subnet association, right? And right, these are the things. So these are the diagrams which I have seen explained in the previous session, right? And the most important part in the last session was this diagram. So the IP section, guys. So if you remember, I have shown you this diagram, right? So if you remember this diagram, so how we are going to decide that which IP range we need to choose, whether it's slash 21 slash 16 slash 28 or slash 30, right? Slash 32, which IP range. So that depends upon your requirement, guys. So mean how many VMs you want to provision the data center which you are going to build, right? So how many IPs you need it, okay? So that is totally depends upon your requirement, correct? And yeah, so this was the IP section, guys, if you remember. And we are going to use IPv4 only because which is available for us, right? That is 32-bit. Still, we are using IPv4. That there is a class A, class B, and class C, right? So there is a range also for IPv4. So if you remember in the last session, right? Suppose if you have to provision a VM of 10K, or you if you want to provision 10,000 VMs for the IBM, this is just an example I am giving you. And if you want to provision suppose 1,000 VMs for the Accenture, then which IP or which class, right? Then how you are going to decide the range, right? How many IPs you need it and all. So that totally depends upon your class, right? So if you are class A, then it's going to be 0 to 126. If it's class B, then it's going to be 128 to 191, right, guys? And if it's C, then it's going to be 192 to 223. And class D and class E, it's going to be class D is going to be multicast, and class E is reserved for research and development. Correct? So basically, we need to use within these classes only class A, class B, and class C. But the question here is then how we are going to decide the IP range, right? So if we have to provision, now we are going to the main diagram. This was the diagram which you need to consider, guys. This is something you need to keep in your mind. This is the main architect diagram. Okay, like this, you need to design your VPC, which I have explained. But if you want to simplify this one, okay, if you have to simplify this one, then you need to look after this diagram. Okay, basically these are the architectural diagram, you can say, how you are going to design your VPC, how you are going to design your private, or you can say your data center by using this architecture. So if you are not understanding, this is basically provided by AWS only. This is nothing I did not get it from anywhere. This is from the official site of AWS only, where your AWS, this is your cloud, right? And inside that you have created your VPC. Inside that you have subnet 1, subnet 2, that is nothing but that is your zone 1, zone 2 is there, right? And inside that only you are going to create your instances, right? And how you are going to connect with these instances. Suppose there is a developer who wants to connect from a public network to these instances, then what all services we need to use in between to connect to this particular EC2 instance, guys. So that is what this is. So the internet gateway has to be in the public network again, because the traffic is coming from the public network. So there should be someone who should identify, so whether we have to allow this traffic or we have to deny this traffic. That has to be done by the route table only. So basically, if you have to implement the security and all, then you have to use route table only, which is going to route your traffic from your public network to your private network. This VPC is nothing but this is your private network, right? And then it has to be go to whether you want to access the VM of subnet 1 or subnet 2. right? And if you want to see the actual diagram also, how this zone 1, zone 2 or zone 3 look like, guys, so you need to see this diagram which I have explained last time also. So this is your diagram, okay, of your zone 1. So this is going to be your zone 1, that is we also call it as a 1A, and this is going to be zone B, that is zone 2, okay, and this is going to be your zone. Like this we can define our subnet 01, subnet 02, subnet 03, right? But the question over here is how you are going to decide the IP. Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
So now I am going to explain this part, and you have to listen very carefully, guys, because this is something which you need to remember. Then only there is a cheat sheet also which I am going to give you at the end of this session. So this is something which you need to follow when you are going to design your VPC. Okay, this I'll give you, but I'll explain you how these values and all is coming over here. Fine. So the first thing is that we have to design our data center, or we have to provision the VMs in our data center. This is our VPC, right? Now in this VPC, if I am telling you I have to provision 200 VMs, if you have to provision 200 VMs, correct, then how you are going to decide the IP range, how it's going to be your subnet 1, subnet 2 and subnet 3, right? So this we need to do it. So there is, so we till now whatever we have talked about the public IP in the last session, if you guys remember properly, right? But there is something called IP range, private IP range for class A, class B and class C. Because if you have to design your what, if you have to design your VPC, if you have to create your VPC, then now we are not going to talk about the public IP. We have to talk about the private IP. Yes or no, guys? Because suppose this VM is here, right? If you have created your VM in zone 1, right? Or in zone 2, right? Here you have created all your application server. In this zone 2, you have created all your database server. In zone 3, you have created some other services, like you have deployed any other VMs and all, right? So, so we are going to keep all these thing inside your virtual private cloud. That is nothing but your private network, your data center only. So we need private IP. So for that, it is already, I am not doing this, this is already given by the INA only, or you can say there is a authority for this one who is assigned these IPs and all. So class A, class B and class C. So class A, it's going to be 10.0.0.0, and if you search in Google also, private IP of class A, class B and class C. So I have not taken it from somewhere. I have taken it from here directly. These are your private IP only, correct? So if you are building a big, means large network, so which one you have to take it? You have to take it the class A. If you are building a medium network, right, where you don't need so many VMs and all, right? So you are going to take, so we are only going to use the host bit, right? This 8 is what? It's a host bit here, right? And the network bit, it's going to be your, sorry, my bad, guys. So your network bit, it's going to be 8 bit, and your host bit, it's going to be 24 bit. How to calculate this one, I have already explained in the last session, right? So here also in class B, it's going to be half your 16 going to be your network bit, and 16 it's going to be your host bit, right? And the class B private IP, it's going to be 172.16.0.0. But the public one is what? This is the public one, 0 to 126, class B 128 to 191, class C 192 to 223. Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
So, and then class C finally, right? So, what do you mean by subnet mask, guys? Any idea? Because now we are going to talk about the subnet. If you see here, right? If you see this diagram, so I have talked about subnet 01. You take this one as a subnet 01. Okay? 01. And you take this as a 02, right? And it's going to be subnet 03. So if I have to provision 200 VMs, so before that you need to understand what do you mean by subnet or subnet mask.
So subnet is nothing but dividing a large network into small networks.
Very good.
Yeah.
That is what your subnet mask. and that is what we are going to. And why we are doing this one? Then only we can provision our VMs in 1A, 1B, and 1C as per our requirement, right, guys? Correct. So subnet mask is nothing but that is your subdividing of the network, guys. Okay. So if I am going to ask you a question, okay, so if I am going to slash 16, okay, if I am going with slash 16, this is what you have to understand from here. Okay. So if you have to go with IP range, or you can say slash 16, then how many IPs is available for you? This is a interview question, guys. Okay. So 32 bit, because we are using IPv4, so we have to use 32 bit. So what is our range? Slash 16. We are taking subnet as subnet range, or whatever you can say, that is slash 16. Correct. So 32 minus 16, it's coming 16. So 2 to the power 16, it's coming somewhere around 65536. Right, guys? And if you are taking subnet of slash 24, then how many IPs are available for you? That is 2 to the power 8, 256.
Eight.
Correct. And if you have to take the subnet of slash 28, then how many IPs are available for you? So this is not the available IP. First of all, you need to understand this is not the available IP, guys. Why I am telling this is not the available IP? Because there are some IPs which you need to reserve before creating your VPC. Okay, you have calculated the IP. In interview, if somebody is going to ask you, if I have to provision 200 VMs, then which class I need to choose, and how many IPs I'll be available. It is available for us, right? Correct? Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if I am going with here, if you can see slash 28, it's coming 16, right? So slash 16 means what? So you have to divide 255. 255, you know, guys, from where it's coming, right? I have already explained in the last session, correct? 255 divided by 16 equal to coming how many subnets you are going to get? 15 subnets? Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
See, understand from this diagram again. So if here it is mentioned as a subnet means what? Inside this subnet, how many IP will be available? That is your zone 1, zone 2, zone 3. If you see here in this only, in this diagram, like in zone 1, how many subnets we can create? That also we can decide with the subnet range slash 24 slash 28, with that only. So it's going, suppose you take this example only, this is the actual production environment. If you have given a slash 21, so how many subnets we are going to create, how many subnets we are going to get? So just do the calculation with this only, na guys. What is wrong with this one? So you just subtract 32 minus 21, how much it is coming? Let me do the calculation. Okay. 32 minus how much it is coming? 21, I am telling. Slash 21 we are taking. It, correct? 11? Yes or no? And out of
Yes, sir. 2
11,
to power 11.
no, 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 no. Just wait. So that will do. Okay, that will do. We are calculating the subnet. I am not asking you the available IPs. We are calculating the subnet still, Vishal. Okay. So now, okay, this is fine. 32 minus 21, that is coming 11, right? Not understanding you guys. Yes or no?
No, sir.
What is
Yes,
it?
32. Yeah, 11, sir.
What is 32? Hello?
32 bits.
Yes, 32 bit only. We are dealing with IPv4. This is in the last class only I have explained, guys. If you have to take IPv4 32 bit, how 32 bit is coming? 1.1.1.1. What is the format? 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8.
8.8.
32. This is the range. Your range is 255. From here only we are deciding the subnet, right? This is why I told you go through the last session. And how I am deciding the range? I am not doing anything. It is already given by these people. Aina, internet assigned. What is the full form of this one? This also I have explained.
और एक बार पूछिए सर
Network is
Internet
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 assigned number
assigned number
authority.
authority.
number authority. Internet assigned number authority. Correct. So these people have given this 32-bit for IPv4. And how we are calculating 32-bit? If your IP is 1.1.1, then what is the octal format for this one? Octal is 0 to 7, that is 8. And that is what I have taken, 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 equal to 32. And if you take the binary of this one, then 0 and 1, 2. Correct. And if you have to do the I would say like how the range and all is decided, so you can understand from here how range is coming, how 255 is calculating. 2 to the power 7 plus 2 to the power 6, that is the formula. 2 to the power 5 plus 2 to the power 4 plus 2 to the power 3 plus 2 to the power 2 plus 2 to the power 1 plus 2 to the power 0 equal to 255. This is how your range is coming. Correct. 255. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
हाँ सर
Right? Tell me if I am wrong. So how to choose class C? This also I have explained you in last session. But now today's question is, if you have to decide your subnet. Now we are talking about subnet. Why we are talking about subnet? Because now we have to deploy, we have to provision our data center, right? So in the data center, what you are going to provision? You are going to provision your VMs only, right? So for those VMs you need IPs, correct? So how you are going to decide your subnet? Whether subnet 01, subnet 02, subnet 03, till how many subnets you are going to get? Subnet 01, subnet 02, subnet 03. If you take, let me copy this one. So we can deploy one another subnet over here, right? We can deploy one another subnet. That is what I am telling. This is going to be your subnet 04. But how I am deciding this subnet 01, 02, 03, 04? That depends upon your subnet range only, slash 24, slash 28, right? How you are going to calculate? I have told you one requirement is that I need 200 VMs. Okay, fine. You have gone with class C. You said no. As per the last session, sir, we need to go with class C, right? Yes or no? You need to go with class C only. So what is class C? You tell me, what is the range of this class C? It is here, right? You see here.
192.
No, see, you guys are not understanding this part. Let me take you through over here. Okay. So if you have to provision only 200 VMs, for example, my requirement is only 200 VMs. Now forget about class C, class B or class A. Okay. I have a requirement of 200 VMs. So which subnet range I need to take? You tell me.
Slash 24.
Slash 24. Okay, fine. So if I have to take slash 24, so 32 minus 24 equal to 8, right? 2 to the power 8. 2 to the power 8.
256.
Correct? 2 to the power 8 equal to 256. These many IP will be available for me. Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
And for this one, I have to calculate the subnet. Then how many subnets it's going to be? If you see this one, slash 16 you take. Okay? Slash 16. So it's coming 2 to the power 16. It's coming 65536. Correct? Right? If you 65536 divided by 255. Wait, I think this is confusing for you guys. Where I'll explain. Here only. Okay. Now you tell me if I have IP range of 192.168.0.0/16. Okay. So how many available IPs I am going to get? Simple question. Okay. So what you need to do is you need to subtract 32-bit minus 16. Okay. It's coming around 16. Yes or no, guys? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
yes sir
Yes,
Correct.
sir.
Now equal to 2 to the power 16. How many IPs I am going to get? 6536. 6536, guys. Correct? Yes or no?
65536, sir. Yeah.
Sorry, my bad. 65536. Now in 65536, subtract 5 IPs. Subtract 5 IPs. Because those 5 IPs you need to reserve. Why you need to reserve those 5 IPs, guys? This is your first task you need to do is because the first IP is going to reserve for your network ID. So the second IP is going to reserve for your broadcast IP. The third one it's going to be reserved for your internet gateway. Fourth one it's going to be reserved for your DNS. The fifth one it's going to be reserved for your DHCP. So the first one you should not touch, and the last before just last one means the IP which is suppose if it is 16 IP. So the 15th IP you should not touch. You are getting my point, guys? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I understood.
Now you understood,
Yes,
right?
sir.
So 2 to the power. Now we need 200 VMs. Okay. So for 200 VMs, okay. So which range we need to select? Slash 24, correct? Slash 24 only if you do it. So you can see how many is IPs you are getting? 256, right? So in 256, you have to subtract 5, correct? So how many available IPs you are going to get? 251, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
this range is fulfilling our requirement. So this is the question they are going to ask you. If I have to provision 200 VMs, so how many IPs will be available for me, right? And which range I need to choose. So you need to choose slash 24. So then you need to tell him that if I am choosing slash 24, then 32 minus 24 is equal to 8. 2 to the power 8 is equal to 256, and 5 IP you need to reserve, one for the network ID, one for the broadcast IP, one for the internet gateway, and one for the DNS, one for the DHCP. Now things are clear for you. I am not talking about subnet still. How many subnet? I am still not came to this part. So I don't want to make you confused. I think you guys are getting confused what I have said. Okay. If you see this one, so this one. Still I have not talk about how many subnets we are going to get for this one, right? Subnet 01 is means in subnet 01 how we are going to decide subnet 02, subnet 03 or subnet 04, correct? Now the calculation is coming over here, right? So just see this one. Fine. So what is the next thing you need to do, guys? If you see this calculation, now the subnet you need to calculate. Suppose in this one, if you have taken a range of slash 28, correct? So your IPs are going to be 16. So you can minus after that also, you can do it before also. It's totally up to you. Okay. Ultimately. So how they are calculating the subnet is they are dividing the range. What is the range we have? 0 to 255, and they are dividing with available IPs. First of all, total IPs. Sorry, my bad. First of all, they are dividing with total IPs only. So if you divide with total IPs, it's going to be 15 subnets, guys. Now you can calculate your see nothing to do if your subnet is there, that has nothing to do with what is available IP. But if how many IPs are available, okay, total IP, okay, that you have to divide with your subnet range. So if you come over here, from here you can understand now. Okay. Now you just take this example only, or any of this one. Slash 24 only you can take it. Correct. So if you are going to divide this one, you take this one here only. So if I am telling now what is the range? 255 divided by how many? 251 total IP, not the available IP I'm telling you. After reserving 5 IPs. Okay. So how much this value is coming? 255 divided by 251. So it's only one subnet you are going to get. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Only one subnet. So in one subnet, in one zone only, you can provision totally. Okay. Only one zone you can provision all 200 VMs. Okay. But if here in production environment, it's not like this. Okay. So in production environment, see, this is the IP 192.168.0.0. Okay. So if you have to calculate this one, so 32 minus 21, how much it is coming? 32 minus
11.
11, sir.
11 is coming, right?
11.
And now if you have to take the power of 2 to the power 11, how much it is coming? Where is that one here? This one, right? It's going too much. 2 to the power 11, how much it is coming? Calculate.
2048.
20.
24.
2048, sir, something.
Okay, and let me take this one here.
Yes, sir. 2048.
1 second, 1 second. 1 second, guys.
2048.
So 21, right? So it's going to be 11. It's going to be, right? Leave this one as of now. It's coming 2048, right?
Yes,
Divided
sir.
by 255. How much it is coming? 2048 divided by 255. 8 subnet it is coming. Yes or no? Yes or no, guys? So we are getting
Yes, sir.
almost 8 subnet.
Yes, sir.
Now you see this diagram and now tell this is right or wrong. Okay. Now see this diagram and now you tell me how many subnets are here. Subnet 1, subnet 2, subnet 3, subnet 4, subnet 5, subnet 6, subnet 7, subnet 8. Yes or no? Yes or no, guys?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So your CIDR means your classless inter-domain routing, your IPv4. If it is subnet is /21, so how many IP we are going total IP? How many total IP we are going to get? The total IP is going to 2048. So that you have to divide with your range, that is 255. So how much we are getting? We are getting 8 subnet, guys.
Sir, I have one question.
Hmm.
We get the range like 2048 by the like 2 to the power 11.
Hmm.
And I have one question, like why we are dividing it by 255? Because it is a network range or like host range.
No, that is what the range given by INA is 255 only.
So it is 0 to 255, na bhai? So
It is
there
0
zero, if
to
you consider 0,
it is 0 to 255. It is not only 255.
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir.
See, and how
total of
this
255.
correct, and how this 0 to 255 we are doing is range is binary plus octal, right? Total how much range we have?
आठ होता है, so it's 2 to the power 8, which results in 255. Means if there is 32 bits, so 8888, right? So every bits will come into 8 bytes, right?
See, no need to go into that much technical. Nobody is going to ask you that why only 255 and all. The question here, the interview question is, I am telling you the actual interview question we ask only that if suppose I have to provision 200 VMs, Okay, how many subnets we are going to get it, which range we need to select, slash which subnet range we need to select. Simply is that simple question is that, and how many available IPs I am going to get. Now your answer is, see, if I have to get 8 subnet, okay, then I have to use slash 21. And how many available IPs? It's going to be 2048 minus 5, that is going to be 2043, right? That is your available IP. So 5 IPs you need to subtract. That is your available IPs I am talking about, not the total IP. Again, so they are going to ask you what do you mean by available IP and how you are going to calculate the available IPs for your data center. If I am giving a range of slash 21. So question could be asked in any way. The formula is same for everywhere, right? And this is all about this cheat sheet, guys. This is not a cheat sheet, this is the actual, okay, environment. And see, there is also something. So this is your network ID. There will be one network ID that we should not touch, and there will be last IP before that, means the before that there will be one IP, means the 15th IP. For example, if in this case you have 16 IPs, okay, this is the total IP, correct? So out of this,
Yes.
if you have to subtract minus 5, so how many available IPs we are going to get? 11.
11. Correct, sir.
So that is the 11 which you are going to provision for your VMs. But there will be, if you talk about 192.168 0.1, 192.168 0.2, 198 168 0.3, like this. So the 15th IP you should not touch, the first IP you should not touch, because the first one is going to be your network ID, and the last, before last means how you, second last, sorry, my bad, second last IP, it's going to be your broadcast IP. We should not touch. Basic, this is not a very complicated thing, okay? You no need to go so much of in depth, okay, why this is like this and all. Simple question is how you are going to calculate your subnet, how you are going to calculate your available IPs, how you are going to calculate your total IPs. That's it. Now this is clear or not, you tell me, then I'll move ahead.
Sir, you said the
Clear, sir.
first IP we should not touch and the second last one. First
Hmm.
one is for the network ID and the last one is the broadcast ID. And
Hmm.
the remaining for DNS, DHCP and the routing table, we can select any of them from
normally
0 to
normally I'll tell you 1 second. You come here, I need to open the VMware. You no need to do, it is reserved by AWS only. You no need to do anything, Manoj, in this one. If you see, I have provisioned this VM, right? Have you guys provisioned your VM in this one, in your workstation? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Have you
Yes.
run the command route-n?
Yes, sir.
What is the
no.
gateway IP you are going to get? 0.1.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
How did you assigned?
No.
So who
No,
is
sir.
doing all these things? So I said you no need to do anything for the internet gateway, right? You should not do anything with the, so these things, see, there are something which is default, okay? You should not touch those things. By default, your gateway, it's going to be 192.168.0.1 only, guys. And that is what the next one is I think I have written here. Let me see. If it is not written, I'll tell you. Somewhere I have written this one. Let me show you. Yeah, see here. Okay. So that is 192.168.0.0. It's going to be your network ID. 192.168.0.1. It's going to be your internet gateway. 192.168.0.15. It's going to be your broadcast IP. 192.168.0.14. right? It's going to be your DHCP. So I said you should not touch this one, you should not touch this one. By default, the gateway is going to be 0.1 only. And your DNS server, that you can take any of the IP, because you need to configure the DNS server, which I have already explained in the Linux administration. Now you guys are understanding.
Yes.
Clear? Now come here and try to understand. Now you have understand how the subnet and all we are going to decide, right? So if I'll tell you, so your subnet could be your here. If you see here, I can put another subnet over here. So that depends upon your subnet masks /24 /28, right? How many subnets you are going, so you, it's not mandatory that you have to deploy, you have to provision only one subnet, right? You are going to create only one subnet in one zone. So in one zone you can create 2 3 4 subnets also. So if you see here, this is your availability zone. Okay, so if I told here the subnet 0 1, right? So if my, how many subnets I have, suppose if I have 11 subnets, guys, yes or no? So if I have to make a high availability, correct? So how I am going to use these all subnets? Because in this subnet I am going to get n number of IPs, correct? If subnet, if here, if you see here 11 subnets are there, right? 11 subnets are there, right? Yes or no, guys?
Like 11 ID. Yes, sir.
So that subnet, how you are going to deploy? It's totally up to you. But it should not be out of your VPC. Okay, it should be in the same VPC. So suppose in this, in zone 1, this is your zone 1A is what? Your zone 1. 1B is what? Your zone 2. 1C is what? Your zone 3. Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Correct. In few regions there are more zones also, guys. You can go and check. 1 second, I'll show you. It's not only 3 availability zones are there, it's more than that. We have selected Mumbai, right? So in Mumbai, how many zones we have? You can see availability zone. That is 1A, 1B, and 1C. Yes or no? So by default, which one is we have? AP South 1, right? For Mumbai, how many zones are available? That is 1A, 1B, 1C, right? So it depends upon your region. Okay. So let's see any other. So in this one, you have 3 zones are available, right? So can we take Singapore? Let's see. So in Singapore also 1A, 1B, 1C is there, right? So in North
Yes,
Virginia,
sir.
how many zones we have? You guys only tell me. Are you able to see this one? Correct? These are your local zones, right? Yes or no, guys? Tell me if I'm wrong. So that is what I just wanted to convey over here. The zones are not only 3. So if you have more subnets, so you can you can create your subnets in those zones also. So that is what this diagram is all about, right? If you see this diagram, if you have in like Mumbai, we have only 3 zones: zone 1, zone 2, zone 3. So if I have 3 subnets, so I will deploy equally in all the zones. Yes or no? To maintain high availability. Correct?
Yes.
But if I have more
Correct.
zones, if I have more zones, and if you have subnet like 11 subnets, you have 8 subnets. Just now I have shown you this example, right? If you have 8 subnets, right, then how you are going to deploy in Mumbai region? So in one zone you can deploy 2 subnets, correct? Or in one zone you can deploy 3 subnets. It's totally up to you guys. Understanding my point? But only thing you need to take care, you have to take care of this part. How you are going to decide your total IP, your available IP, your subnet, right? Then only you can create your virtual private cloud, your own data center, your private network, guys. Any doubt till here? Now the next thing is here. Now you guys have understand why which all IP it's going to be your network ID, broadcast IP, right? Your internet gateway, your DNS, your DHCP. Yes or no? Right? So like this, suppose if you have 16 IPs, just now we have seen how we are going to get 16 IPs. How we are going to get 16 IPs if you have a subnet of /28, correct? If you have a subnet of /28, that is this one, right? Then only we are going to get 16 IPs. Out of that, 5 will be reserved. So the available IP is going to be 11 only, right? So according to that only I have given this here. This value is coming. Understanding my point, guys? Yes or no? No, yes, yes, no.
Yes, sir.
Understood.
Why I have explained, I have taken this much time to explain this one, because interview question will be from this only. You told in the interview, I have created my VPC. Then they are going to ask you a simple question. Okay. Okay. If I am going to give you /16, how many IPs it's going to be? Then you'll be like, oh, I don't know. Right. So like this only. So simple. This is, they will ask you like this only. So first we need to set up the networking part, guys. Okay. Then only we can proceed. Without setting up the networking, you cannot proceed. Okay. Once you guys are able to see my screen, let me know.
Yes, sir. Able to see your screen.
There is something, but I thought, uh, okay, I'll explain this one in the part of cloud formation. Okay. Now, okay, fine. I have to draw one diagram. Let me tell you here only. Okay. So admit everyone, guys. Okay, fine. See, now if you have to provision your VPC, okay, if you have to provision your VPC, there are two ways, guys. Okay. So the first way, let me mention over here as a new. Provision your data center, or you can see your VPC. Okay. So the first thing is, either you do it manually, or you can automate this one. Automation. So if you have to create your VPC, so either you can manually create your virtual private cloud, you can manually create your route table, internet gateway, DNS, subnet association, subnet 1, subnet 2, right? Now the next thing is, or you can automate the same thing. Okay, so how you are going to automate this one, guys? So let's take this one. Okay, so if you have to automate your infrastructure, basically you are, this is nothing but your infrastructure only, right? So if you have to automate, then how you are going to automate? You are going to automate this one through Terraform, or you are going to automate this one with the help of CloudFormation. This is just for knowledge. Again, I'll be explaining these things. Don't worry about this one. Okay, right? So how you are going to automate this one? So either you are going to use some kind of a tool, right, which is using JSON and which is using YAML, two scripting languages, correct? Yes or no? So if you have
Yes.
to automate this your VPC, which VPC you have to automate, guys? This VPC. If I told you, okay, we shall go ahead, okay, and create this VPC, okay, this entire infrastructure, right? So are you going to do this one manually, Vishal? Are you going to create everything manually, this one? So if the same thing, if I'll tell you, Vishal, please go ahead and deploy. Suppose today you have deployed in Mumbai region. Tomorrow, if I am telling you, Vishal, create the same infrastructure in California, create the same infrastructure in Tokyo, create the same infrastructure in Seoul. So are you going to do it manually? Yes or no?
No.
Why you are not going to do it manually? Because again, you are doing, you are involving lot of effort, your time, effort plus cost is also involved in this one. So why we have opted for cloud? Cost optimization, correct? So for that, what we need to do, guys? So for, where is this at? So for that we need to use some automation tool, right? So those automation tools are nothing but those automation tool, it's going to be your Terraform, and the tool it's going to be your CloudFormation. Now you have to ask me, sir, why we can't go with Terraform? Why Terraform is so popular, and why suppose if in AWS, right, why we can't use CloudFormation? So answer is very simple for this one. This is a open source. Terraform is a open source, guys. This is basically a open source tool. And since, so in this one also, okay, so in this one also, in Terraform also, you need to write it down the modules. You have to do everything from scratch. But the only good thing about Terraform is that this is not a platform dependent. Okay, this is a open source tool, and if you want to automate your infrastructure, that is nothing but you are going to create a template. Now I am going to give you the exact, see, in the earlier, when in VMware in virtualization, if you guys remember how things are related to each other, so then only you guys will understand. Okay, so if you guys remember, we create hardened templates. How many of you are aware of this one? Like if this virtual machine, so with this virtual machine where I have installed my application, my database and everything, so I am going to create a template of this one, my hardening template, and the same template I am going to use when I am going to spin up a new virtual machine. So I am going to clone that one basically. If you have to spin up, so you can use the same template. You no need to change the values also if you are deploying in the same region. And if you have to make changes also, you can make the values. And but here, if you see here in these virtual templates, the templates which you have created, hardened templates, so you cannot make much changes. But in the Terraform or in the cloud formation, you can tweak, you can make changes, you can make the changes of those values according to your requirement. Somewhere I need 12 VMs, somewhere I need only one VPC, right? Somewhere I need like one security group. So it totally depends upon your requirement, correct? So whatever the requirement, the CPU and each and everything you can configure, guys, with the help of your Terraform modules. Don't worry, I'm just giving a knowledge to you guys how things work. Okay, I'm going to show you how to create your VPC manually now only. And in the next session, where I'm going to show you how we can create with the help of CloudFormation. And when we'll be in the DevOps, at that time, I'll be showing you how we can create the same thing with the help of Terraform. So you'll understand each and everything. So Terraform is not a platform dependent. It is, if you see here, why Terraform is so much popular, now you'll understand from here. So Terraform will be supported by AWS, Terraform will be supported by Azure, Terraform will be supported by GCP, Terraform will be supported by Kubernetes, Alibaba Cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. But when you talk about only cloud formation, so it's only supported by whom? By the AWS only. This is the challenge. But again, I am telling you, if you know, cloud formation is much more easier than Terraform, because in Terraform you need to know how you are going to write those modules. You have good knowledge of your JSON and YAML. What do you mean by JSON? Any idea what is a JSON file? That is
It's like
Java.
a language.
Correct.
Uh-huh.
That is JavaScript object notation or notion, something like that, right? Correct. And YAML is not YAML is what? YAML is your yet another markup language, which you are not only going to use in your cloud formation or in Terraform. It's also going to use in your Kubernetes, it's also going to use in your Ansible. Most places you guys are going to use that YAML only. It is not, again I am telling you, it's not like C language and all. It has some set of syntax, some set of steps which you need to follow. Even building your pipelines also, we are going to use YAML files only. Very simple and easy. Don't no need to worry about that one. So, but the main good thing about over here is in cloud formation, though this is a platform dependent, what we need to do is in cloud formation, we just need to understand the business logic. Means the logic how you are going to create your VPC. If I am going to tell you, okay, Sayantan, please go ahead and create your VPC. So you only need to understand this logic, how you have to see. Logic means what? So you also know if you have to create a virtual private cloud, so inside that what all things will be there. Your subnet will be there, where the subnet association will be placed, where the route table will be placed, where your data center gateway will be there, where the public network will be there, right? Means this diagram means where inside your VPC, which all things you are going to place, like your route table, your DNS. This is the logic how you are going to set up your VPC. You no need to worry about how you are going to write the code. This is the biggest advantage of your cloud formation. Only disadvantage of cloud formation is that it cannot be used in other platforms. But in Terraform also it is easy, guys. You are going to get those code. But in cloud formation, AWS documentation is very good. How the documentation is very good. I am going to show you the example. See here. Now you have understand, first of all, you have understand there are two ways to create. First, this understand this one, to provision your data center. First one is your manually, which I am going to show you now. Second one is through automation. If you are going with automation, then you need to use automation tool, that is your Terraform and your CloudFormation, right? So CloudFormation is how, let me show you how exactly CloudFormation it's look like. So in the upcoming session I am going to explain you how the CloudFormation works over here. So just click on the service CloudFormation, create stack. What do you mean by stack? So stack is nothing but, guys, stack is the output file. If you have to create a VPC, this is like a output file. So this output file is having your code and your scripts. This output file is having your code and scripts. Why I am telling? Because it's going to be your YAML and your JSON only. So YAML is what? Yet another markup language that is going, you are going to write a code only, right? JSON is what? That is nothing but your Java script object notation. So you are going to, so backend, these things will be done. Okay, you no need to worry. So stack is nothing but it's like a template only, where you are going to design your VPC logically. So that is what call your stack. This is your output file. So what you just need to understand the logic of the process and go and design the template. Create. Now click on build. Click click on create in application composer. Click on go to designer. Okay, now just understand here. So here you are going to get all your services in the resource type. In the resource type you are going to get all your services. So now you need to know that VPC comes under EC2 only, yes or no? VPC comes under your EC2 only. Just click on EC2 and if you scroll down little bit, you guys are going to get VPC here. See here. Are you getting this one, VPC? So what we need to do, you know, you are not going to write any code. Now you will understand what I'm telling. Just drag and drop. Okay. But there are few things. Now, why I told this thing to you guys, that creating a VPC in CloudFormation is much more easier than Terraform. The reason behind that, the backend, you no need to worry about this backend, where your JSON file is there and your YAML file will be there. The code you no need to worry. Only thing you need to worry, that you have to understand the logical process, go and design the template. That's it. Understanding my point, yes or no? Now just right
Yes, sir.
click on this one. Now there are few more things which you guys you need to understand. So and one more thing. So AWS allow you to design this template, but if you are going to execute this template, they are going to charge you. You are going to design your template, okay, your network, your virtual private cloud, but they are going to charge you if you are going to execute this one. Understanding? So one more thing, what do you mean by template? If you guys have not understand yet, so combination of your script and template. No, what is the definition I said before that, guys? Stack. Did I explain the definition of stack before? No, right? Anurag?
No, sir.
Template you guys have understand or not?
Yes, sir.
So template is basically it's going to be your stack only. Okay, it's going to be the stack which you are creating. That is a output file. I think this one I have explained, right? That is the output file. So template is nothing but it's going to be your stack only, and inside that stack you are going to mention your script and your codes and all, right? Correct. Leave that one. Understand from here. Okay. So here, if you see the this one, when you drag and drop this one, the VPC. What is the VPC name over here? How you are going to choose which data center? Suppose here, if you see what is the workflow. Okay, just come over here. Okay, I have to name my VPC. You have to name your VPC. Yes or no? Correct. Suppose if it is VPC for IBM, it is VPC for the IBM means IBM they have created own data center. Obviously, your Infosys created their own data center, right? Accenture created their own data center. So they need to give some kind of a naming convention. Yes or no? Right? So how you are going to decide the naming convention, guys? So the naming convention will be like, should I do it here? Easy for you guys to understand. Correct?
हाँ sir. Yeah.
Okay. So how you are going to do the naming convention over here? So the naming convention will be always your customer name will come first. Customer name. Okay. Colon. After customer name, your app name will be there. Colon. After that, your environment name will be there. Colon. After that, your service name will be there. Colon. After that, your number of services. Number of services. Understanding my point, guys? Okay. So, for example, if you have to design your VPC, so how you are going to do that one? Let's copy this from here. Let's paste it over here. Right? Correct? Let me make it bigger for you guys to understand easily. Now, what I'm going to do, copy and paste. Okay. Right? Okay. Customer name, you only tell me. Okay. For example, I am telling IBM. Okay. Colon. App name, just giving an example. Okay. YouTube. Okay. YT. Column. Okay. Your environment name, QA. Colon. Okay. Service name, VPC. Colon. Service means how many services VPC? Only one? Yes or no? Only one VPC service, right? You are creating only one VPC, correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
So, like this, your naming convention will be there, guys. But remember, when you do the cloud formation will not allow you to put any colon in between. Okay. So, whatever the value you have taken, you have to take without colon. Okay. Now, one more thing. So, in cloud formation, whenever you make any changes, okay. For example, here I am what I am doing now. I am making, if you see, you will understand. Are you getting any message here? You can see design is out of date. Yes or no? Correct. So immediately what you need to do, you need to run the refresh over here. Otherwise, you won't be able to run anything. Every time you are going to make changes, you need to refresh every time. So here IBM, YouTube, and what I have given here, it's QA, right? QA. What is the service name? VPC 01. Done. So now the next thing is you need to do refresh immediately. Now, are you able to see if you do a right click in the here, there are some icons are there, right? Yes or no, guys?
Yes.
Yes. Huh. So here, if you have to edit, click on this one. You need to click on this one. You are start able to edit. But if you have to know the documentation, okay, so the documentation is very strong. This is why AWS is very popular. Now you guys will understand why. Okay, as soon as you click on this one, it will be redirect you to the documentation. So immediately just scroll down, and what code we need to take, you need to understand from here. You need to take this JSON file. Okay, so inside properties you need your CIDR, your /16. Now you understand why I'm taking too much time for this one.
Yes, sir.
Enable DNS support true, enable DNS hostname true. Okay, so let's take this value, take everything till here. Inside this curly braces, leave this one, just copy this one. Okay, come over here, go inside this property and paste it over here. Refresh this one again. Okay, so here the stack, this is just a value, just name it to name. Again, refresh this one. What is the name of your VPC? This one only, right? So give that value, refresh this one. Understanding my point, yes or no? Tell me, this is tough or easy? If you know the business, if you know the logical process, means inside now, if now inside VPC, okay, as I said, inside VPC, what we need? Subnet. So you can see Subnet. Just take, put it over here. That's it. Same thing. Again, right click, go to documentation, okay, and just take the value from here, JSON value. Are you able to see this one? Here, inside properties, your VPC ID we required, your availability zone is required, and the tags will be required. Same thing, we are going to put it over there. So, like this, CloudFormation works, guys. But the only problem with CloudFormation, it works only on AWS platform. The documentation, you can even read here also why we were using availability zone, US East 1A, everything there, why we are returning values and all, everything is mentioned over here. So your Terraform is also like this. Now you are understanding why you put so. I know everything, okay, but I don't. If the day one only, if I'll start all these things to you, you only tell me very honestly. I'm asking you, if a person who has never worked as a DevOps engineer, will he able to work like this
No, sir.
from day one only? Whatever, however, I'm going to teach him, he'll not able to work. Honestly, I'm telling you guys. This is that reason from day one I am telling you, first you need to learn complete Linux administration. Then only you need to learn your shell scripting. Then you need to learn your cloud. Then you need to learn your DevOps tools. Now, if I make you understand what is, now you guys have understand how cloud formation. Again, this practical also I'll be showing you in the next session. First, I'll show you how we can create manually. Now, the second thing, how we can create with the automation tool, cloud formation. Things will be clear for you guys. Now, if you do Terraform, it will be easy for you or not? Tell me.
Ji, sir.
Yes,
Things
sir.
are not that easy what you guys are thinking. Okay. DevOps job is, if people are just giving goalie to everyone, then they are just making everyone fool. Okay. But I cannot do. Okay. So these things you need to do it, guys. Don't worry about this one. Again, I'll explain you. I have just given you because I have to show you why I have to show you this one, because I told you there are two tools for to automate Terraform and Cloud Formation. Now we are coming over here again back. Okay. Now we are going to do the creation of your VPC manually. So for that one, let's come over here. Let's come out of it. Okay. Click on this AWS, leave this one. Okay. Reset. Now click on VPC. We click on VPC. Okay. Now you will understand why I have explained that one. Okay, fine. You have to create your VPC, right? You have to create your VPC. That is this one. I have to create my VPC. So now you know how the naming convention will be. Yes or no? But before that, there is a cheat sheet. Okay, this cheat sheet I am going to give it to you guys. Okay, just take this cheat sheet. You have to follow this one when you are designing your VPC. Don't ask me why this came and all. Okay, now because I have explained much more on this one. So how the private IP of class A it will be. So from where this 10 dot series is coming, you this is what I have told you from the starting of the session. If you see here, this I have told you from the starting of the session here only 10.0.0.0. Understanding my point? Yes or no? Because you are designing your VPC, you are creating your VPC, right? So your VPC cannot be in public network. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Correct,
Uh,
sir.
correct.
Yes,
Having
sir.
pub-
Yes, sir.
It has to be in private network only, right? Correct. So now let's come over
Yes.
here, right? So now we are going to create our VPC, right? So just click on create. So how many VPC only you are going to create? One VPC. What is the name of your VPC? Let's take it from here. This is the name of your VPC. This is the name of your VPC, guys, right? So the good thing of here is in creating VPC manually is you have to take the values colon also it will accept. But in CloudFormation, it is not going to accept because of your JSON. Okay, it's going to throw the error. Okay, so here, so it's better you should make it like this, so it will be easily identified. IBM. Okay, okay, and then YT. Just remove this one. So why to create a problem? Let's make it simple and easy. 01. Right. So now here the CIDR is part is coming. You leave this one as it is. No need to touch anything. Okay. IPv4. Now you guys will understand from here. So which range we are going to take? So the range with this cheat sheet, we are going to take class A only. Okay. How we are creating? I'm just giving you an example. So for that, what is the range /16? Right. This is the ID means your VPC ID. Correct. This we need to put it over here. Yes or no? Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now you only tell me, okay. So there, if you remember, when I have given the what is that? The naming convention, right? So you remember name equal to I have given the name of VPC. See here, this is what called tagging. This is why I'm showing you why I'm doing like this. Now you understand? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now only one thing you need to follow when you have to create the VPC. You just need to follow this one, this diagram. Correct. So first we have created our VPC. So now go ahead and click on create VPC. Now one more thing I just wanted to make you understand over here. Are you able to see this ID over here? Do you know the importance of this ID? If suppose anything wrong with your VPC, okay, whom you should reach out to?
AWS support team.
Exactly. Very good, Anurag. The cloud support team. And when the cloud support team, when you are going to raise the ticket, okay, then what you are going to mention in the ticket? Are you going to mention the VPC name or you are going to mention the ID?
VPC ID, sir.
VPC ID. Very good, Anurag. See, we are not going to there. They don't know about what and what is the naming convention. That is up to you only. They are going to identify with your ID only, because every, suppose IBM has their own VPC ID, Infosys there have their own virtual private cloud, right? Accenture has their own virtual private cloud. So if any ticket has to be raised, it has to raise with the VPC ID only. Correct? So you have to use this one. Now the next thing is, you see this diagram again. What is the next thing we need to create? Subnet? Yes or no? So click on subnet, create subnet. So subnet is under which? Subnet is where? Inside your VPC? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So now you only going to give me the answer. Which VPC I need to select over here? Which VPC I need to select over here?
172 वाला, first one.
उठा के फेंक दूंगा आप लोगों को, बाई गॉड बोल रहा हूँ। इतना चिल्लाया इतना देर से मैं। अरे यार,
नहीं, we created
it's in front of you only, guys, right? It is in front of you only. See the name of this IBM, right? YTQA VPC 01, right? This one /16. Are we going with ID? We no need to identify with the ID. Just now, which one? It's your VPC name only. We need to select this one, right? Correct? There is one default VPC and there is your own VPC, right? IBM. See, this is one default one. So why I should go? This is already by default created by AWS. But when you have created your own VPC, you are creating your own virtual private cloud, na guys?
Yes, sir.
ऐसे गलती हो गया,
Okay.
mistake.
Now the subnet, again the subnet one. Okay, the subnet one, which again. So what is the naming convention of your subnet? Again, now you guys are only going to tell me here. Where is this one? Okay. Let me copy this one. Copy here. Right. So again, I am doing another provisioning of another service. Right. So here, if I'll tell, so the naming convention will be the customer name only, the app name only, the environment only, and this time instead of VPC, it is sub, because it is your subnet, right? And this is your subnet one. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Remove this colon. Okay. Now here you need to choose the availability zone. If you guys go to this cheat sheet, okay, which I have given to you guys, just go to that cheat sheet and see what is your subnet one. It is zone one only, right? Correct. Because we are deploying on Mumbai. Mumbai means how many zones are there? Zone 1, Zone 2, Zone 3. Just now I have shown you guys, right?
3 zones are there. Yes, sir.
3 zones only. Those only I have to select. So you have to select it Mumbai zone A1, 1A. What is your here? The IP which you need to mention. This is your main network. This is your VPC IP range /16. But the subnet, it's going to be your /24. Don't ask me this one how it is coming over here. You guys think and you guys do it. /24. 1.0 /24. Correct? So now,
So
oh, yes, ask me, Vishal. Yes, Vishal.
Nothing.
Okay. Now the next thing is we have to create two subnets. Then only I can show you the subnet association, right? Minimum. Correct? You can create three subnets also, totally up to you. But for you guys, I'm going to show you another subnet. Okay. So, and this subnet name, it's going to be your 202. Reference, it's going to be your zone 2, zone 2, this one, 1B. Yes or no? Correct?
Yes, sir.
The IPv4 VPC ID range will be your CIDR will be /16. And what is the subnet IP of this one? It's going to be your this one 2.0/24. Right? Tagging will be correct. Now create subnet. That's it. Both the subnets are created. Guys, I think I this is too much for you for today's. So I'll do the rest of the thing in the next session. Okay. Right. It's going to be 2 hours now, right? Right. I can continue. Again, I need to subnet association. I'll show you. Then I'll create the route table. Then I'll create the internet gateway. Then then it will be done. Okay. Don't worry about that one. So, guys, I'm ending up the session here only. Thank you for staying connected with me. Let's connect tomorrow again for the provisioning of rest of the services for your VPC. Okay. So tomorrow it will be completed. The how we can create your VPC manually. Okay. And after this project and project only. Everything will be in project. Okay. This is very simple. I am showing
Okay,
you.
sir.
More than this, you
Okay,
guys
sir.
are going to get. Okay. So please be prepared. Okay. And there is also one thing which I have missed. So that I am going to tell you how you are going to connect to your AWS by using console. Anyways, console, nobody is going to give you the access. It's going to be your CLI only. Okay. And which all tools we need to install to connect to CLI. Okay. That I'll explain you and we'll proceed like this only. Okay. So just take care of yourself, your loved one. Bye bye and Jai Hind.